Welcome to another episode of the Elevated Barbers Podcast. My name is Bradford Kelly, and today we are actually going to go into the mind of Josh Hawkins. So stay tuned, buckle up, because we're about to elevate and see how he evolved.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's going on, people? This is the Prince with my co-host Bradford, aka the business-minded barber, and we have a very special guest on the show this week. This man is a legend in the Atlanta area. He's a legend in the barbering world, and I've been watching him since 2012, and just to see his growth and who he is now as a man, as a barber, as a pillar in this community. I don't want to delay it any further. I want to bring on stage Mr. Joshua Hawkins.
What's going on with you, Josh?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all fellas doing, man?
Man,
we are
outstanding.
Doing superb.
That's good. Y'all looking great, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
Sir,
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
So, Delmar, you go ahead and start off
us.
with the questions. Go ahead, man.
Man, first I want to dive in and get to know Josh a little bit. So, were you born and raised in Atlanta, in the city of Atlanta?
Well, I'm actually born and raised out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Like I said, from a kid going all the way up until the day after I graduated high school. The day after I graduated high school, moved down to Atlanta, Georgia, and that's when the career took off.
Nice. How long have you been a barber for?
I've been a barber professionally since 2010, and so 2010 up until now.
I like how you said that professionally.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
were you professional mark in there? Because I started off cutting hair when I was about 12 years old, but
nice.
Professionally, I got my license at 2010. Yeah.
Okay. So what year was 12 years old?
12 years old was, let's see. That's a good question.
Like you started touching the clippers in like that's
middle
12.
School for sure. Yeah,
middle school?
Yeah, middle school.
Middle school, man.
That's
That's a long time.
Yeah.
You was in the bathroom at the school?
Yeah, all of that. So it was crazy because I was actually cutting my own hair first. That's how I started off. My pops was cutting me and my brother, and he would take us to the shop from time to time, but he was more so I want to save $1. So he would try to cut it, cut himself, and he was a military guy. So a lot of the cuts that we was getting, he was doing his best. I love my pops to death, but the fade just wasn't in there, man. So, he was just like, yo, if you don't like it, you can get a job where you cut it yourself. So I'm like, hey, I'll take this even Steven real quick. So, that's what got me going on it, man.
Nice.
Man.
Yeah, I got a similar story, man. Same background.
Yeah.
My pops used to cut me up, and then one day I got in trouble, 17 years old, and he handed me the clippers. I was like, man, hey, I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
I've been watching them for so long, and then they just kind of sparked something within me, and then I've been knowing Brad since we was teenagers, and he started barber college the same year that I started cutting hair, so it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. So what made you get into the professional route of barbering? What were you doing before you actually chose to become a barber?
So barbering really was my only job. When I was, like I said, coming up through school, probably when I got up in high school, that's when I started cutting like my friends and stuff like that. And back home, I was cutting hair out the garage. So at that time when I was cutting, I was that barber in high school that everybody would come to. Like I said, I remember days when, my pops would pull me to the side of the house like, man, you see this electric meter right here, man? You burning up my electric, man. You cutting so many hairs throughout the day, So, that was cool. But yeah, man, like I said, definitely been, at it for a while. And when I moved down to Atlanta, I had the opportunity to cut in my first shop, unlicensed, at I think it was like 16 or 17 years old. And it was down in Atlanta. And when I got in that particular shop, like I said, I didn't know nothing about no license. I just, thought it was just, hey, just go cut hair and say you're a barber. So the guy that owned that shop at the time, he was kind of letting me do it in the sense of like, oh, this is just a summer job, because I had to go back home. So he was just like, just come see how you like it. You can cut in the very front and just see how it goes. So that particular summer, I mean, it was booming, man. It was probably 2008, I would say, because that was the year before I graduated. And man, no clientele. I was making about $600-700 a week. Yeah, I was
You was living life, boy.
That turned on the light for me. Yeah, that turned on the light for me. So I was just like, yeah, this is it. This is it right here. Yeah,
man. That's
but I will say this too, though, and this is just a little interesting because I know the thing been going on about like Georgia been trying to take away, you know, the license part. When this is 2008 now, when I was at that shop, it was probably, I would say maybe 8 or 9 of us in that shop. Maybe 1 or 2 barbers had license.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
that was,
you know,
a criminal empire.
Right. And I remember State Board coming to that shop, you know, and barbers fleeing out the shop in the back, you know, because, you know, she was there. But, you know, one of the barbers that was there, he had told me, he said he could see I had a passion for it. And he was like, when you graduate high school, just make sure that you know, you go get your license so you ain't got to be running from shop to shop. So, you know, he definitely put planted a seed on me at an early age for me to even just take that serious and be like, hey, when I graduate, I'm going straight to barber school, you know. So that was major. But yeah, even from then all the way up until now, man, not even just in Georgia, I could promise you, man, it's a lot more barbers cutting without a license than with license for sure. Yeah.
What's your take on that proposition? Do you feel that, you know, it's a positive thing that they may be taking away the license simply because there's so many barbers that don't have licenses anyway, and they practice under the name of a license, so might as well just strip away that? Or are you on the other side is like, nah, I think it's a sense of there's a reason why there's a license and we should have licenses. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm a little caught in between both because it's one of those things where I do definitely feel like it's a great thing for us to have license. But why I say I'm kind of caught in between both is because, granted, even though I have my license and there's a lot of other barbers out there that have their license, since I didn't have my license, not one time have I ever had a client come in and say, can I see your license for you cut my hair? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And with that aspect, you know, granted, most people that's coming to get a haircut, you know, they're just trusting the fact that you just know how to cut hair, right? Yeah. And I feel like for me, I went to school, I did my time in school, you know, obviously I take cutting hair seriously. So I would say the only downfall is for barbers that, or just people coming into the barber industry, they're going to look at it, like I said, like most kind of do, as just a hustle, right? Yeah. And it kind of, you know, puts this stigma on what barbering is. It's just like, oh, this is just a hustle. This is not a real thing. But I would also say too, for the barber who do have their license, most people that's coming to see you, they're going to know that you're the official one that they're going to. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're going to somebody that ain't went to school, I mean, I'm quite sure if they put that bug out that, you know, hey, Georgia or whatever state, they're not required to have license no more for cosmetologists and barbers. Most people are now going to go start going into shops like, hey, you got your license back? You know, now that's going to be a question that's asked. Yeah. So it's going to kind of separate the two real quick. So yeah, I'm just kind of like in the middle with it. I definitely see both sides.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know what side of the fence I'm on. I like the license.
yeah. Like I said, it's definitely one of them things, man. You know, for anybody who went to school, you know, like I said, we put them hours in, we put that work in. Yeah. And I think for me, you know, one of the reasons why it's a touchy topic because I know a lot of top barbers that's in the industry right now
that don't got no license.
That's not shooting out no names, but don't got no license. You know, people didn't got educated from them. They look up to them. You know, granted, you know, it's not to knock anything that they do because, you know, they cut hair pretty good. They run business, this, that, and the third. But it's just like, you know, what really separated is it they just that slip of paper that says, you know, you certified or, you know, what goes into it. So yeah, I'm definitely caught in the middle of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, D. I didn't ask like 3 questions straight, so it's your turn.
Nah, I'm kind of like in the middle too because I feel that, you know, even with us having a license, being a professional, it's going to show and it's going to separate those who just look at it as a hustle and those who really take it serious and treat this as a profession, treat this as a career. I know Bradford don't like that word when it comes to being a barber, but we take this serious as business owners. So, you know, we're going to have our shop license up to date. We're going to have our professional license up to date, business license or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like it shows who's serious and who's not serious. So hey, look, whatever they do, I'm good either way it go.
Yeah. You're still going to be top tier at the end of the day. Whatever they decide to do, I'm going to elevate to wherever the highest level is so that I can, you know, stay on top of what I want to do and be the best that I can be. I got a question for you, Hawk, if you don't mind. One of the things that I've noticed about you through your development is the transition of mindset. You went from probably what most people would consider a very, very high place in the industry when it comes to, you know, how many followers and likes and all of this stuff. And you kind of went from that. And now you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of remember this shift where you almost stopped posting on social media. You would only do it every now and then. And then when you started to post a little bit more frequently, you always had a message behind what you were doing. It was never just look at my cuts, I'm fire, I'm the best person out here. It was more of this is what attracts you. So I'm going to show you the cut, but let me drop this gem on you. And you kind of started to have a little bit more of some substance behind the craft. What would you say you would attribute that to? Having a message, having something to really deliver outside of just a haircut for the barbers?
So I would say definitely what got me to that point was I remember when obviously I knew that cutting hair was going to be like, you know, that thing for me. And that was something that I prayed about. And I remember, you know, praying and asking God for certain things that I wanted within the barbering industry. You know, I wanted to be able to, you know, do barber battles, open up my own shop, be able to travel, be a celebrity barber, all those things that, you know, come along with being a barber. And I was able to accomplish a lot of those things within my 20s. So I remember really, and some stuff was added on top of that, stuff that I didn't even ask for. But I remember being asked a question a lot this particular year. I think it was maybe 2018 going into 2019. And a lot of people kept asking me all the time. They was just like, yo, what's next for you, Hawk? You done did this, you done did this, you done did this. Like, you know, what's next? What's next? And at that present time, I was starting to feel empty a little bit. Like I, you know, definitely was able to accomplish all of these things. And I was definitely proud of those things, but it was an emptiness there inside that it was like I wasn't fulfilled. And it wasn't, like I said, an ungrateful like thing. It was just like, this is not fulfilling to me. Like, granted, I was able to do these things, but it's I know it's something more. And God was placing that on my spirit for a reason, you know? So even at that time, I started searching, you know, saying, okay, well, whatever it is that's coming next, I don't want to stand in the way of that. I don't want to, you know, say, hey, this is what it is that I'm about to do. Have all these plans out in place that's, you know, that could be possibly standing in the way of what God really had for me. So my prayers started to change up. My prayers was, you know, asking God to show me what was his purpose for my life instead of what's my purpose, you know? And I think for a lot of us, we get that confused when we try, because all of us do it, you know, subconsciously, and just, I mean, we're natural at that to try to figure out like, what's my purpose in life? And when you think about just that quick little sentence right there, you say, what is my purpose? So we all try to figure out what's my purpose. And when you do that, sometimes you could be chasing something that's not for you, you know? And when you switch it and you say, God, what is the purpose that you have set out for my life? Then that whole dynamic changes up, because it may be something that you didn't even see for yourself, you know? And that's when it really started to hit home for me. Like I said, the pandemic came 2020, and I got a time to, like, you know, really sit back with the family, the wife and the kids. My page had got hacked. So I had seen God was like really just shutting a lot of doors that I was leaving open. Even my shop that I had at the time, we had
the loft.
No, not even the loft. This was before the loft. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a shop that I did with my business partner that I had. God rest his soul, he gone now. But we had that shop for like 5 years, and right when we was wrapping up on our last year, that's when COVID kind of hit. So it kind of just helped, you know, shut that off quickly. But yeah.
Is that the Equip shop?
No, that was my Furious Style shop. So Furious Styles, I had about 12 barbers in there with me. Vic, he was in there with me. I had a lot of different heavy hitters.
Vic Blends?
Yeah. Vic Blends came up with me when he left out of North Carolina.
Yeah. Nah, that's deep, man. Because like you said, it is easy to get caught up in your own ambitions and what you want to do. But then when you start making God a priority, things can begin to change for you. I know that was something that I dealt with personally, man. Like during the pandemic, man, you posting on social media and trying to compete with everybody, and it's not competing in the sense of I'm trying to be better than so and so, but you're trying to create your brand, you're trying to, gain clientele and things like that. It becomes a full-time job, man, and it can wear on you mentally, it can wear on you emotionally because you invest so much into trying to take your craft serious. But like you said, when you really begin to take a step back and start to pray about things, and then God can, when you're serious, he can begin to move things out of your life that don't belong there. But you got to allow it to happen, and you got to allow yourself to move out the way to see what he really wants for you. And that's something I learned during the pandemic too, man. Like this industry will take a toll on you, man, if you let it. Like outside of just life and things that we deal with in our day-to-day life as a human being, but as a barber, entrepreneur, like, man, we wear so many different hats, and then, you care about your clients. They're putting things on you as well, just through conversation that they may have. It can wear on you mentally.
Oh yeah. That's why I like one of my biggest, like, just life foundation scriptures that I live by is Matthew 6:33. Seek God first and his righteousness, and all things will be added unto you. So when you think about that, it's just literally getting the breakdown is just saying, like, the world that we live in today, though we might not think we're seeking it, it's programming on us the more we doing this, right?
Scrolling.
And I don't care if it's a conversation that you're having with somebody, whatever you watching, whatever you listen to, if it's a podcast, whatever the case may be, all of these things are deposit. And what happens is you're taking all of this stuff in, and it makes you seek those things. But once again, if you're not seeking God first, it's easily to get distracted, and that's what the enemy wants, because it causes confusion, it causes stress, it causes anxiety, it causes feeling like you ain't enough, like you ain't
depression,
enough, depression, all that stuff, man.
No, that's a key thing, man, that you're saying. I'm sorry, D, just to add on to that, that's a key thing, because there's a big nugget that I do want to highlight that you just mentioned. Like, you can have something in your mind where you're thinking about your purpose. You think about your purpose versus thinking what God's purpose might be for you. And I think a lot of people, they kind of struggle with not being able to do that for many different reasons. And I know for myself, kind of grew up in the church, kind of was like believed in the Lord. But Delmar says something that's really serious, is how when you get serious with God, then he can get serious with you. He's not going to force himself on you. He's not going to push himself into your life. He's not going to try and coerce you into anything. What he does is he provides an opportunity. And when a person gets serious enough in their life, they will shift, or they'll be gravitated towards what he's trying to do. It's almost like, I remember reading in Exodus, and I always paid attention to the fact that when Moses saw the burning bush, he actually went to go see about it. He didn't just see it from a distance and be like, man, that's odd or that's unique. He just was like, wait, let me go find out what's going on. Sometimes the Lord does that in our life in different ways, where he'll put a flame of fire in the distance so that you could see it. It's something good enough for you to see, but it's up to you to kind of go after it. It's up to you to kind of, take those steps to understand more. So I really like what you said, Hawk.
And I think a lot of that too is, man, it's kind of, we think it's hard to make that shift because of how other people perceive us, and we worried about what other people may think or say. But when you block all that out, man, it's, hey, look, I'm not doing this for anybody else. I'm doing this because of my relationship that I want to have with him. And he can really guide you. I know a scripture that I had on my heart because I was reading recently, and the scripture that I had on my heart was Proverbs 11:1. And for me, it's fitting for where I'm at right now, because I'm still trying to find my life rhythm. Sometimes we on track, but it's easy to fall out of rhythm. And the scripture says a false balance. I got it on my whiteboard in my office, but it says a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So that's something I'm trying to incorporate more of, just being balanced in all things, man. Not too far left, not too far right, but just staying in the middle, so that way he can continue to deal with me.
That's dope, man.
We didn't mean to go that deep with the Lord and everything, but we don't know.
It's gonna stay there. I ain't even gonna hold you up. Most podcasts I've been doing lately, honestly, man, that's why God has been even just calling me to jump on even more podcasts. Like it's for a reason, man. And granted, I know we can talk about haircutting and the things that I accomplished, but it's something so much bigger that needs to be addressed. So yeah, man. Yeah.
It's good to show people that we're deeper than just, being barbers.
That's right.
Yeah, there's so much to. It's crazy because one of the things that I noticed when I got into this industry, like I told you, I've been faith based, been in church my whole life, but I think around my 15, 16-year-old time period is when I personally kind of got real with the Lord, and I felt that void that you were talking about.
Yeah.
I felt it when I was like 15, 16 because of certain things that happened. And in that space, the Lord kind of came real for me. And then when I got into this industry, it was really odd to me because the industry itself went against how I was feeling about my relationship with the Lord, if that makes sense. And so I wanted to cut because it seemed like easy money. But at the same time, I really had a passion for being able to build relationships. I had a passion for just the opportunities that barbering provided, but the environment that barbering was in was not cool. It was not cool to say the
Total
least.
opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, the shop that I went in, man. That's why I always talk about environment matters, and you have to know yourself because if you don't know who you are and what you value, you'll put yourself in the wrong environment that can disrupt the path that you were on completely.
That's right.
But when I got into the industry, to cut it short, I realized that this whole industry is vanity, right? Like the whole thing about it is about how you look and the perception of that you want for others to see and different things. It's all about your image, but it made it a little difficult to be in this industry, in that space. And so for me, I had to kind of remove myself from that environment and get into a way better environment so that I could grow as a person as well as grow in this industry. So did you kind of have that battle when you started to move closer towards the Lord? And did you see that your environment didn't support where you were trying to go and had to kind of move? Like, how did you move in that?
I would say for me, I didn't. How can I put it? So when I got out of high school and I came down to Georgia, got into barbering school. I remember when I first, like I said, received Christ, and I was probably maybe 14, 15 years old. I can't necessarily say I knew exactly fully what I was doing at that particular time, but obviously I knew I had it on me. And even when I graduated high school, I got out to barber school, and I graduated from there and got out into, the real world of barbering. I would say honestly, man, throughout my 20s, I was still on the fence. I was still, battling back and forth. Some days would be good, some days would be bad. Definitely more bad than good. Where like I said, my flesh was more higher than my spirit was. So when I, like I said, right around the time when the pandemic happened, and I took that time off, and then right when I got back into the loft that I had, that's when it really turned up, because that was a space where I wasn't in there with anybody else. That was like the really first time me stepping out, doing my own thing. And at the same time, like I said, it was just me, in the shop. So when I opened up that place, I started to get a lot of feedback from barbers that wanted to come, chop it up with me. And when they would come, and even just clients that was coming to me, I kept hearing this like, man, I was praying, looking for a new barber, and you just popped up out of nowhere, or God led me to you. Or it would be a barber to say, man, I don't know, it's something in my spirit that makes me want to come just chop it up with you, or come out to your shop, and I got to break bread with you in some type of way. And when they would come, we seen the transition, what was going on, and why, it was happening in the way that it was. So I seen right then and there, and at that point, even me opening up the shop, I was already telling God, just use me in whatever area that you need to use me for. So yeah, I don't necessarily say I seen it kind of have that battle, because throughout my 20s, I think I was still in it. So it didn't look like a battle. I was living on both sides.
Yeah, man. So I want to ask you, I know you talk about you had the shop equipped. I see behind you is a different name.
Yeah.
Was that part of the transition of you, going more faith-based and really believing more, making that transition the name change of your business?
Honestly,
if you
man,
can, let the people see what it say. It say groom for the kingdom.
Groom for the kingdom, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But honestly, equip actually came from me in my word. I was in my word, and God just kept popping in front of my face. So that's still, this is still falling up under equip. This is just like another branch from that. But yeah, man, equip and this, like I said, I was even in a place where I'm like, all right, God, what you equipping me, with? Like, what's going on here? I mean, I know I'm equipped, but what are you equipping me for? So even now, obviously this grooming for the kingdom is somewhere else that he's taking me now that I even see. But I think this is what he was equipping me for, this next step. And he's made it plain and clear to me. So that's where he has me at right now, man. And I'm super, super excited to share that with our industry, share that with the world, share that with anybody who looks at anything that I do, because when he shared it on me, and like I said, I started getting filled up with what he was, processing on me. It was like almost just like an eye opener. It was just like, wow, like, man, I wish I'd have known this, years and years ago, but everything happens, on course. Yeah, for a reason. So, yeah, man, like I said, from equip to groom for the kingdom, and the next thing that y'all see, this is all just driven by God, man, and the purpose that he got set out for me.
You got something in the works right now?
I know. Can we get a sneak peek?
Yeah.
Can Elevated Barbers get a sneak peek?
Sneak peek, how can I put it? Well, it's pretty much in a sense of, like I said, still with the brand, but it's more so in the sense of like what I'll actually be putting out as far as, content, classes, like I said, revamping up the brand a little bit more. So it's a foundation of what all of that is sitting on. And how can I say it? I've been kind of dropping it on my page a little bit, if y'all can see it. I love to do things, a little bit over here, a little bit over here. And then, people even like, yo, I seen what you was doing, man. I seen how you was, piecing that together. But it's definitely in a sense of just showing us our true purpose and our true role while we're here. Yeah. So even us as barbers, mankind, all that stuff, man, it's something that I feel like, we able to add this into our daily lives, man. It'll help us out in so many ways. So
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So no full blown sneak peek, people.
No full blown. No full blown. Not just yet.
You gotta follow on the gram.
But definitely coming soon though. And I will say this part. I at least give y'all this. I'm working on my first book right now. So
man, congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much so. Congrats.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, like I said, be on the lookout for that. But that's gonna kind of be the introduction to what's about to come. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Will this be hard copy and available audiobook?
Both. Yeah.
Both. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an audiobook too? You gonna read it?
So what I'm trying to do is I'm having it where it's gonna be a hard copy, because I just want to see it where it's here, right? But I'm gonna have it like in an ebook form, and it's gonna be a lot of different parts that's added into it. So it's gonna be a few different series that's attached to that one. So
beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Be on the lookout for sure.
Oh yeah, man, it's impactful, man. I'm talking about within everything I've done in the barbering industry, this by far tops it. Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful. Now, I want to dive a little bit into the way that you stay balanced, because from experience, that, you can't be what they call it. They say you so heavily that you are no earthly good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do outside of your faith that may be good practices for barbers to keep themselves grounded? It's different things. A lot of people do different things. Music, it could be, I don't know, exercise of some sort. Could be a lot of reading books, learning different things. What would you say for the barber that's listening to this? And they might feel a little bit of what you're saying from a spiritual standpoint, but there's so much more depth to you that the Lord can use on top of the spirit that they can also take value from. So what would you say are some good things for barbers to keep in mind? Like, stay grounded, and this is some things that you can do.
I would say the number one thing is being intentional. Being intentional. with your time. That could be from your family, obviously the craft, your business, working on yourself, just being intentional with the time that you have. I think a lot of us, like I said, time can definitely get past us a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may feel like we ain't got enough time in a day,
Right.
There's just so much going on. But I feel like when we start to get intentional about our time and placing, time where it needs to be and saying, hey, okay, in this hour here, I'm focused on this and only on this. This hour here, I'm focused only on this. And that could be with family. If you got a hobby, if you're saying this time right here goes to my wife, this time right here goes to my kids. Before the day gets started, this time goes to God, and just really delegating that time in the proper manner. I think that just kind of helps you be more, what's the word that I'm looking for? More useful, because once again, like I said, if you're getting stretched out, and we all know this, like I said, if you're getting so stressed out and just all over the place, you ain't good to nobody. You ain't even good to yourself, So just being intentional about that time and just, like I said, just keeping yourself, this is something that I've been preaching out a lot. And it's just saying, like, when you're encountering on things in your day-to-day schedule, your day-to-day life, just really ask yourself this question: is this particular thing here feeding my spirit, or is this feeding my flesh? And when you get that answer, it'll kind of allow you to know, like, really what you're going in towards, right? And it'll really help you out with a lot of things as well, because like I said, if I'm constantly doing things that's feeding my flesh, more than likely my flesh is gonna have me all over the place. Not making the right decisions. Like I said, when things come about, it's just, I'm doing this because I feel like it. I'm doing this. I don't feel like doing this today because I don't feel like it. There'll be a lot of those things. But when you're keeping that spirit on full, the spirit is keeping you in check to say, hey, you need to get back to this. Hey, remember why you're doing this. Hey, remember that you need to be doing X, Y, Z, and it's not just about you. So yeah, that's something that I would definitely share for anybody.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's real good.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I like how you said that though, because that flesh should definitely have you all over the place.
Oh yeah,
mentally, physically,
every time.
Yeah, they have you all over the place. That's why it's good to have a balance too, though, man. Like, even just with like having time management, like you said. Like I said earlier, that's something I struggle with still to this day, just trying to figure everything out.
Mm-hmm.
But prioritizing what's important to you, and then going from there, and then being okay with if I got stuff to do for today and I don't get to the very last thing, the least important thing, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Put it off to another day, put it off towards the end of the week. But I think sometimes with being an entrepreneur, we can overburden ourselves because of what we got to do at home, what we got to do for the business, stuff that we want to do, stuff that we have to do. It can be a lot. So it'll definitely wear you down to what, like you said, you ain't good to nobody, not even including yourself.
Yeah. You find yourself, like you said, just being like a hamster on a wheel. You just going in a circle, just repeating yourself, but you're not really going nowhere. So being able to find some sense of rhythm, like Delmar was speaking about earlier, and having intention behind what it is that you're doing, because like you said, Hawk, you have to be a person that understands your direction. If you don't have any goals, if you don't have anything that you're moving forward towards, then you're not really moving at all. And I think they say if you're not growing, you're dying. So you have to make sure that you're always growing. But growing has to do with you having some form of a goal, something that you're trying to accomplish. You don't just grow haphazardly. Like it's intentional in life. Now, if you're trying to get taller or whatever, you can't control that. You can't add 1 cubit to your height at all. But when it comes to you trying to grow as a person, that's intentional. That's something that you have to put the legwork into, and you are always going to get rewarded because of your effort. And I like what you both were saying, because one of the biggest nuggets for me, and I still work on this just like you, D, when it comes to quote unquote time management, is being taught that you can never manage time. Like that's not even in your control. Time is never in your control.
I literally probably about 2 weeks ago, I just did a Bible study on time management. And literally what you just said, we think we can control it, but you really cannot. You can manage it in the sense of placing it where it need to be, in the sense of saying, okay, in this hour I could do this. But if we could truly control it, we'll say, hey, I want to stop time right now.
Right now,
I don't want my kids to get, older, whatever the case may be, but we can't do that,
Yeah. At the end of the day, you control you in the constructs of time. You know, if you can control you in the constructs of time, then you can be, like you said, very intentional. You can reap a lot of rewards. You can put a lot of energy into something when you stay focused on it. And if you allot the time for it, it's like, okay, like you said, for this next hour, I'm about to give my time to this. For this time, I'm gonna go ahead and give my time, my energy, and my mind to this. And you can start to do a lot more things at 100% because you've dedicated the time for it. But when you just kind of like wandering and
freestyle,
like doing
I call it freestyling. If you wake up just like freestyling, let's just see what today brings, you're gonna catch yourself all over the place. But if you literally got a schedule written out, and this is still to this day something that I work on, you know. I've been here so many years. Every year the new year coming, I get my little agenda, what I'm gonna be writing down on my schedule. I'll probably get to about, February, March, and I'm like, dude, I done slacked off, but it's just one of those things where, you gotta constantly be intentional about saying, hey, this is what this week looks like. This is what this month looks like. But this is from the time I wake up, from the time I go to sleep. This is every hour has to count for something. And granted, it might be an hour where you saying I'm not doing anything. That's perfectly fine. But
that's important too.
That's important.
Right. That's very, very important. So you at least just gotta see it. If you see it, you can say, okay, this is what I'm working towards. But if you just waking up every day just saying, hey, I just wonder how this day gonna look. Yeah, you're gonna be let down a whole lot. A whole lot.
You got to give yourself grace too. That's something I'm also learning because I'm extremely hard on myself. I'm my worst and hardest critic in everything I do in life. But someone that I look up to, he mentioned a couple years ago that you have to be patient with yourself and you also have to allow yourself grace. We human, so time can get away from us. Then you gotta take into consideration that things can happen at any point in time in your life that'll make you either have to pivot or pause. But whatever, you have to allow yourself grace. Everything not gonna be perfect. Everything not gonna be just how you written it out. But to be okay with that, not saying that I'm settling, but I'm allowing myself, hey, look, I know this happened. This didn't happen like I wanted to. Cool. Like you said about I fell off last month too. I was started off January strong. Right now on my list, every week, every day. February kind of got away from it, but you know what? It's okay. I'm getting back to it now. I can't change what happened in the past, but I can work on what I want to do going forward.
It's amazing, man. Every day that we wake up, it's a new opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Opportunity.
Like his mercies is new every morning, and so is your opportunities. So if you get another day, you got another chance. You can do better than you did the day before. Don't beat yourself up about the past. Tomorrow is not here yet, so you can't have anxiety about that. Just do what you can do today.
I always tell people, chasing the 1%. Like I said, every day not necessarily going to be 100, but at least if you put 1% towards anything that you're doing, like I said, at least you're doing something. Sometimes that's all we need to feel like. I might not necessarily be able to go 100 today. I'm tired. You get what I'm saying? But if I just give it a little bit, that at least gives me this boost of saying like I at least touched it today. I at least gave it some type of thought today. So
Hey, Hawk, I want you to elaborate on this thought, man. In this vein, I was listening to something recently, and it was actually really, really, I think it was good. He said, so many times people live their life in the wrong frame of mind for achieving things. They'll look at he said, and he used a football analogy. He said, a lot of people are living their life and seeing success as the touchdown. And so they're always trying to live their life, trying to get the touchdown. He said, but I realized that, touchdowns are automatic if you get enough first downs. So just kind of doing the small things, and achieving the small things consistently will get you to whatever big thing that you're trying to get to if it leads to that. So what is your thoughts on, like you said, elaborate on that 1% thing that you just said, because it kind of tied in, is getting the first downs. Enough of those is going to get you to a touchdown. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm all the way in agreement with that, because it's just one of those things where, once again, we all look at the finish line, right? But it's also like, I remember one of my mentors used to tell me like, hey, and he was, like I said, a lot older than me, but he used to be like, hey, young man, you got to walk up the hill, man. You always be trying to run up the hill, he said, we'll get there at the same time. And I was like, yeah, all right. But, if I'm running, I'm going to get there way quicker. But granted, you might run into different things. You might get tired, whatever the case may be. But I think it's just one of those things is just saying, like, if we have in our mind that obviously day by day, it's not supposed to happen overnight, but the world that we live in today puts this pressure and makes us think that it's supposed to be like, put it in the microwave and then 2 minutes you got it. But if you understand that, it takes time just within anything else. If you're a basketball player, you're not going to be great as soon as you start picking up a ball. Right. It takes time. And that's with any sport. That's with any job. That's with any craft. When you start, you're not going to be great. So day by day, piece by piece, every day ain't going to be 100 where you getting it in. But at least if you putting something towards it every single day, eventually you will get a chance to see that 100%. You will get a chance to see that touchdown. You will get a chance to see that blessing. So just like I said, just working towards it every day.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I want to ask you specifically, I see that you're married. You're an instructor for Babylus. I want to pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, everybody, they have their ways on how
it's different. It's
different ways.
So you're an instructor for Babylus. You're running your business, you're running your brand, and I see that you travel a lot too. Amongst other things that you're doing as well, I heard you say earlier that you hosted a Bible study. How do you, Josh Hawkins, just manage everything that you have in life? Because I know traveling is a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story when you got to travel and then you got to come back home and you still got other things that you got to do. So for those who are listening, like, how do you manage that?
Well, I always say, and I kind of said it earlier, just obviously just being intentional about my time. Usually I know when I have to travel. Usually I know when I have to, if it's doing something at church, I'm very active at church. Obviously I'm active with, working with Babyless. I got a couple, private clients that I deal with that I travel with them. If it's just, my day-to-day clients, whatever the case may be. But I just try to be very, very intentional about the time that I have. So a lot of the times, and I use this as an example because I think this is when I really started to use that intentional word. I came home from a trip one time and I was gone for a few days, and I got to the house and I was sitting with my kids. And my oldest daughter, she said to me, she was trying to explain something to me and I'm listening to her, but I had my phone out just kind of like answering emails. And she stopped me and she was just like, hey, you've been gone for a few days, right? And I said, yeah. And she was just like, well, can I at least get your time for right now? Because you was gone on that trip for a few days and I didn't get, time with you. So this time, can I have this time with you? And man, when I tell you, it was like a light just went off because I was like, you're 100% correct, baby. This is your time. And granted, sometimes we could take work home, and it could just be within anything, like I said, when you got something scheduled, you're bringing other things into that time that should just be that time. You could say, hey, today is my day for me to relax, chill, just get some rest. And then you still picking up the phone. You still answering phone calls, emails. You on social media trying to keep up with certain stuff. You still mixing the two. So when you start to learn to be intentional about your time, you're saying, no, this particular time here is for this right here. And like I said, that'll help you manage it. But also, too, at the same time, it's one of those things where I was saying this probably a couple years ago. Managing time can always be changed, too, because you might think that you got your time managed out and you like, all right, everything is fitting the way that's supposed to. But life be life. Life be life. So you might think that, I got this figured out and I got this worked out and this going how it's supposed to go. And then life will throw a curveball at you real quick and you have to find new balance. You have to find a new balance in life and what works out for that season of your life, because every season brings different things. So, I always tell people, don't just think, okay, once you create this one little system that you think is working out, then that's it all. Nah, man, because life will come at you real quick and throw something else at you and you have to find a new balance within that.
And even within your growth, things might change. If you, that's just like even with working out, right? If you get to a certain weight and you get that and you start doing it, you do all your reps, at a certain point, that's going to become easy and your body's not going to respond to it no more. So you're going to have to do something to switch it up so that you can continue to grow. So that's actually a really good nugget.
Yeah. Now I'm definitely going to take heed to that because I guess I'm in the space right now. I'm I have a few new things for those of you who don't know, I just became a distributor for Level 3. I'm also an affiliate for Level
Congrats,
3.
man.
Appreciate that, brother. I'm also an affiliate for the Illusion brand. And then I have my own brand. I just became a content creator. Me and Brad hosting the Elevated Barbers podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot I'm trying to manage. Like 4 new things just came at me at once. This is only March. So it's like, all right, now I'm trying to find my place because I was doing fine. Now I got to figure everything out all over again. So I appreciate just the words that you and Brad just said.
Yeah.
I also will say this one too, just to add on to what you said. And this is not going towards what you're saying, but I'm just saying in life in general, because this is something that I just stumbled across, and I'm like, yeah, that's some good information. But it's one of those things where we have to be careful too, because the enemy likes to keep us busy. The enemy likes to keep us distracted, and he's in the business of handing out blessings too. So sometimes we could be dealing with something that's really a curse to our life, in the sense of taking time away from our family, taking time away from our health, putting us in a position where we ain't never got time to pray, be in our word. And we be thinking that obviously we have a blessing that's in front of the new job position, a new title, whatever the case may be. And really we're handling a curse. So we have to be careful with understanding, like, you know, when the enemy is blessing us with something and when God is blessing us with something, because it's a difference. When God is blessing you with something, it's really opening you up to have more time with him, to have more time with your family, and to be able to work on you. But when the enemy start to bless you, he gonna give you more money, he gonna give you more opportunities, he gonna give you more distractions, in the point where it's just like you ain't catching yourself the word, you tired all the time, you like, man, I can't remember the last time I've been at church, I can't remember the last time I picked up my word, I can't remember the last time I got on my knees and prayed, or man, my family, I don't be having time. It's just like when I get home, I'm tired. He wants you in that place, because once again, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's your character. That's it. Yeah. So if he could do that and keep you distracted, man, we gotta be real careful of the things that we take on, because like I said, he's in the business of blessings too.
Yeah. Now that's real 100%, bro. I agree. I agree.
And it's like some things, like we heard the saying, you know, all money ain't good money, but it even been times for me, especially like moving forward these past few years, it's a lot of things that I turned down, because once again, I'm intentional about my time, but I'm also intentional to say, like, okay, hold on, is this just more so feeding my flesh right now? Is this feeding my spirit? And some things are, like I said, not always good to take on, even though it might look good to everybody else.
Right.
And if it don't fit where I'm at right now, I can't do it.
Yeah. That word intention, man. One of my business mentors, he said, intention always drives attention. So whatever you're intentional about, it'll bring your attention to it. And like you said, one of the biggest tricks is that you can feel busy and not be productive, and you don't know it because you're so busy. You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this.
Busy doing nothing, man.
Yeah, you busy going nowhere, and you don't see it. But that intention, man, that ability to focus on something specific, so that you can get to a destination, that's key. That intention will literally drive where you focus and what your attention will be on. So it'll produce the most growth when you're able to focus. I love it, man. I love that. Now, I got one more question for you, Hawk.
Okay.
That I think the viewers want to know for sure. It's about I got two more questions, but one is about the transition from the loft. I really want to know about that, because I was following you, and I remember being stunned when you announced that the loft was about to be no longer, and that God had a different plan for your life. And I was like, wait a minute, bro. Like the loft, this like I was in certain respects, man. I was just like, I was trying to get to that level. Like, how you just gonna dismiss it? What happened? So, anyways, because I really I liked the space, man. Real talk. I think it had the billiard room at the bottom, and then you was cutting at the top. It looked good, all of that stuff, and then it had a positive message behind it. So I was feeling all of that, and I was like, man, that's cool. And then when you was just like, yeah, I'm done, and I was like, what? And then that's was like, So this was I don't know when did that happen? That was 2021?
2023. No, 2023.
Okay, that was 2023.
Yeah.
So that was right before you came to Vegas then, and did the faith.
Yep. Applying Faith to the Art of Barbering. Yeah, I think it was right before that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not tripping then. I was thinking like, man, did that happen too long ago? But no, that happened in 2023. So if you don't mind, can you give insight into what happened to the loft and what triggered the transition into where you are now?
Yeah, for sure. So when I first got over there to that building, I was in a smaller loft. Y'all probably remember the pictures from that spot. The pool table was closer towards my chair. And that particular unit I was in had a real bad leak. And it was something that they kept trying to fix, but they couldn't fix it. So that particular unit I ended up moving into was a unit that somebody had just moved out of, but it was a lot of people on the wait list for it. And me just being patient, obviously, you know, like I said, just being in the right place at the right time, God had blessed me with that particular unit. Now, when I got that unit, I was probably like in there the first week when I was setting everything up. I wanted to get everything set up before I had anybody coming in. And right when I wrapped up, I remember going up the little spiral staircase that I had. And I mean, it was like God hit me in the chest with it so hard. Like I felt a lot of things that he done poured on me, but this was like a heavy one. I almost like I responded back in a way like, man, what? So as soon as I got up to the top of them stairs, he said, don't get comfortable. You ain't gonna be here long. And I'm like, God, I just got in here, man. Like I just set up. Like what is you saying? Like what is you saying right now? And he said, literally, it was just like I could just not like hear his voice, but I could just hear him on my spirit just saying like, you can enjoy it, but just know you're not gonna be here long. So don't get attached to it. So sure enough, I mean, like I said, went through the process of everything, and like I said, created the vibe. Everybody was coming through, and then that particular place, man, they said that they weren't allowing any businesses to renew their lease any longer. So that particular loft space that I was in, but it actually started happening all around Georgia. But they were taken out because what was happening, I think, why it was okay at the time that I got in during COVID, a lot of people was working from home. So if people had businesses, they were just kind of letting them just match the two, right? And that's why it worked out so perfectly when I was doing it. But yeah, at that particular time, they said, you know, hey, I think how they did it was they actually sent somebody around just to like double check who was running businesses out of there. And like I said, I wasn't living there. I didn't have no bed in there. I didn't have like, you know, anything that said I lived there. You could tell it was a business. And I wasn't going to, you know, argue with them or anything like that because God had already confirmed that, you know, obviously I wasn't going to be there long. So when the time came, you know, I wasn't upset about it. It wasn't anything to be like, man, why is this happening? I just did all of this. The same way that he blessed me in that situation, I knew that wherever he was taking me to next, he was blessing that as well. And whatever was coming out of that, he was blessing that. So just my faith, and even just like how I did with applying faith to the art of barbering, that was a piece of it, you know, because sometimes you have to step out on faith, not knowing what the next step is going to look like and being okay with it, especially if you know God has gotten you through so much. Like I said, there's been so many things that I felt like could have tore me down or this is it. But every single time he always brings me up to a higher level. So, you know, I was just really excited because I was just like, well, if you did that over there, I'm only just wondering what you got next for me. So it was really like an excitement, but I think it threw so many people off because they was just like, man, if I was you, man, I'd be mad right now. Like, dude, you had everything grooving and this, that, and third. It's like, I said, but sometimes that's how life works and that's how God works, you know, at the same time too, because it can also be a learning lesson just for a lot of people that's just following my journey, right? Sometimes we see people riding so high and we think that stuff don't happen to them or everything just goes the way that it's supposed to go. And sometimes God will pull you down just to let you know, like, for one, he's your main source and you always need to be, you know, dependent on him. But for the people watching to say, hey, dang, that didn't tear him down. Like, dang, that didn't get him depressed, or dang, that didn't leave him in a bad space. He went somewhere else and kept moving like nothing happened, you know? And that's the God in me, and that's my faith that's just stronger than anything else.
Yeah, man. It's like when you go through situations in life, that's the best time for people to see the light. You know, it's like that's when they talk about like the fire. I think I can't remember how that scripture go, but it talk about that fire being let your light so shine. There you go. Let your light so shine that others may see your good works and glorify God. But the only way that they can see that light shine shine, the best way that they can see that light shine, I should say, is when you go through some type of adversity, because adversity causes the word that's in you to become alive. And it's like, okay, this is how I'm going to show faith. This is how I'm going to depend on God. This is how I'm going to exercise myself in patience. This is how I'm going to show love in a scenario where somebody would show hate. This is how I'm going, whatever it is, like you start to be able to exercise the word that's in you. And when people notice that, they'll glorify God. They might not know it, but when they give you praise and they give you honor and they be like, man, you a real dude for that. You know, you a G for this one, or you whatever. Then you be like, it's all honor to God, because you know what you depended on for that.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. You said that perfectly, bro. Perfectly.
Yeah. I appreciate what you just said, because I have a similar story. Like, so I co-owned a barbershop with somebody I'm real close with. And we started in 2014 and I left in 2022. But the story in between that was, I felt like God had started dealing with me around the time of the pandemic. This was back in 2020. And I had seen a place that I liked. And I was like, man, I was telling my wife, man, this would be dope if I could get in a spot like this. And I sat on that idea for 2 years just because I didn't want to hurt my business partner. I was afraid of the change, leaving something that I had helped build and then moving into something else, not knowing if my clientele was going to transition with me. All those different things was running through my mind. And I prayed about it, and I ended up talking to my pastor. I ended up talking to him about it, running an idea by him. And this was in the end of 2021. I ran an idea by him. He loved it. And then when I talked to Brad, because like I said, me and Brad close, I ran an idea by him, and he was like, man, I love it for you too. I was like, man, the Bible says out of the mouth of two or three. So I was like, these are two people that I'm close with, that I look up to, and they both are confirming what I'm thinking, what God has been dealing with me about. So I said, man, there's nothing else to do but to pull the trigger on this move. And man, when I say it's been a blessing ever since, the guys that I love those guys, man. We always gonna be like family. But in my life at that time, it was time for me to transition into what I'm doing now. And now I'm in the suite by myself. But I said that to say, to piggyback off of what Brad said about people glorifying God through your actions. I had a client just last week tell me, he was like, man, bro, I've seen you elevate through everything in your life. He said, man, you might not know, but I pay attention to you. He said, man, when your mom passed, I didn't see you weak. You was still strong. I know you was probably dealing with, the emotions of that, but I didn't see you get weak. When you left your establishment, I didn't see you weak. He said, every move that you made, you was elevated, man. I was like, all I could do was, on the inside, when he was talking, I was like, man, all thanks be to God, because I ain't do none of this. None of this strength is of my own well-doing. This is, God provide me with that strength. And man, I really appreciated hearing that, because it lets you know that people do pay attention. And like Bradford said, man, I want to continue to let my light shine through my actions.
That's dope. Hey, and even moments, in those moments when you see that happening, that's your moment right there, man, to give God all praise and glory, man. Don't hold it in, bro. Because
definitely.
sometimes too, we can miss a moment when, granted, somebody can be glorifying us or giving us praise of what they see going on, but the real purpose behind it is to bring them closer towards him. So within what they send, because granted, they may see it and they may feel it's something, they not knowing for sure what it is. Like, this brother getting through all this stuff. And granted, you just might be like, I'm being strong, my faith, but let them know what that looks like. Let them know, when God is showing you certain things and how he's bringing you through, how he never let you go down, because that's what they need. And sometimes too, you can read scripture all day to people. You can tell people to go to church, and that's something that they might have heard in the past that don't really move them. But them hearing your personal story is what shifts and what moves. And that's why God even will allow you to go through it sometimes. So man.
Yeah, that's one of the at church they always say one of the strongest things that you have is your testimony. That's the strongest thing. That's better than any gift, because that's what God did for you. So once you can learn how to articulate what's in the arc of your testimony, man, that's crazy. When you learn how to really show people that your life is God's and you can explain it, and it doesn't seem weird in some fake metaphor of some sort. It's just real. Like, nah, this is what happened. Like, this is when I changed my mind. I started to do these behaviors. And when I did these behaviors, I saw these results. And when I saw these results, I was like, man, I'm gonna keep going after this. And you start talking like it's real normal, they'll be able to receive it. And I've been having a client for years now, man, years. And he's always seen my growth and different things and always paid attention to me, always had respect for me. But recently he's been going through some things in his life, and you don't know this in the moment, in the time. But like you're saying, Hawk, at different points in times, people will get to a space where they'll cry out and won't be like, hey, man, I need help. But they'll say something where that'll be a trigger for you to be like, you know what, let me share something that may bring them closer to the Lord, and get them interested into something that'll get them deeper and higher in their relationship with the Lord. And so that's what I've been doing with him. We'll see where it goes. But it's just interesting, the power that you have behind the chair in different ways. You know, this chair is a platform for you to be able to grow, but you also to allow others to grow through you. So you just got to use it wisely. Got to be intentional, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, man. Like I said, this chair is our ministry, man. And like I said, within all the things that we have, the blessings that we have, being able to be behind this chair, having the talent to cut somebody's hair, having the talent and the resources that we have, it comes responsibility, man. And it's also too understanding that it's not just for us to receive blessings all the time. I think sometimes that's when we can miss being able to be a blessing to somebody else, you know, because like I said, we're always just looking to receive a blessing. It may be like moments in your life or things that might happen in your life where that's an assignment, and you may miss the assignment if you're just looking to be the one that's being blessed. But it might be an assignment for you to be a blessing to somebody else. And that could be by them just watching your life, you being intentional about hearing what they're actually talking about and being able to pour into them. So yeah, man, when we wake up every day and we asking God to use us, that's what being used is all about. It's not necessarily always for our benefit, you know. So you got to remember
that you're a servant.
That's right.
At the end of the day, you don't want to be an unprofitable servant. You want to be a profitable servant. Absolutely. Well, go ahead, D. I see you was about to say something.
No, I was just going to say a lot of the things that we deal with in this life is not always for us. It's for us to be able to share our testimony with the next person.
Yeah, no, that's true, man. That's kind of like one of the things that I was telling y'all, just moving, like my next step is just really kind of showing that too, like us getting to the point where we know, you know, who the true owner is. You know, we think that, you know, we own a lot that we don't own. You know, that could be from our family, our kids, our talents, our gifts, our finances, all those things. But those things don't belong to us. You know, we were here to just manage over those things. You think, or you didn't got a sense of entitlement over those, you know, certain things, then that's when, you know, life kind of gets a little hard, because it's just like, I don't want to let this go. You know, why is this happening? And it's hard for you to trust what, you know, God is doing in your life if you attach to it to the point where you think you own it, you know? It's one of those things where we have to truly start learning who the owner is and what's our position. Because like I said, when we learn what our position is, it allows us to be able to move accordingly to where he wants to take us. But if we hanging on to certain things, they say that some of the people that's going to have the hardest time making it to heaven is the most wealthiest people. Why? It's because they feel like, I done built this up. You know, I done did X, Y, Z. I done, over all these years, I've accomplished all these things. And I said it before, you'll never see a U-Haul behind the hearse. You can't take none of this, you know, you can't take none of this stuff with you, you know. So, you know, just understanding, man, that the things that, you know, and I'm about to take it left a little bit and I'm gonna bring it back, but even like within churches today, right? We've been taught to pray. We've been taught to, you know, get saved, get to know Christ, you know, like I said, all these things, right? And we've been taught that in a way of to say, you do those things for the blessing. You do those things to receive the blessing that comes behind that. But that's not how God operates. Because just think, if we were in a relationship with somebody and they found out all the things that, you know, come with us, if it's good credit, you know, money, whatever the case may be, and that's the only reason why they want to be with us, we gonna look at them a certain way. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you because you just here.
It's called a gold digger. That's what that is.
Right. You just trying to get something from me, you know? Why would we think that works for God? You know? So like I said, we be thinking that, you know, that's how it operates. God doesn't operate that. He just wants a true, genuine relationship with you. You know? We have that true, genuine relationship, you know, all those other things that we might want. You know the desires of your heart. He'll add those things into you, but you don't have to chase after those things. You don't have to get attached to those things because, two, he could bless you with something. He could bless me with a house right now. And if I get attached to that house to the point where he tells me to let it go one day and I don't want to let it go, that's a problem. That's a problem. And within anything that God blesses us with, we should never be attached to it to the point if he ever say let go that we don't.
Yeah. That is very, very true. It's at the end of the day, he's a jealous God, and he has to be the priority. And I remember one time, I don't know, man, we were really going deep on this, but I remember one time I was in a service, and I remember hearing the minister kind of speak to the fact that, you know, so many people look at God as like a dictator and somebody that is always telling you what to do, and if you go against him, you're gonna die. And they was like, you know, that's really not true. Like, I get the perspective, but it's not true. Like, you gonna have the destination that you're gonna have one way or another. I think he said that, you know, I didn't come to condemn the world. Like, I came to save it, right? Like, the world is already condemned. Like, if you do what you're gonna do, you're gonna be condemned in any way. But he's trying to give you instruction to let you out of the burning car that you're in. Like, you're in the danger. So if you listen to these instructions, you can become free, which is what I'm trying to help you do. So it's just crazy that, you know, when you were speaking about like the rich and like the wealthiest people not being able to enter the kingdom is such a key too. Is not even like, that's not even about the monetary and the possessions. Like, that has little to do with being rich. Like, we sometimes are very rich in our opinions, very rich in our perspective, very rich in what we think is right, very rich in our experiences, very rich in what we've been through. And it's like, those things, if you're rich in that, then you completely go against Matthew's, what is that, 5, where he said, blessed are the poor in spirit. Like, you too rich in your own spirit. And you don't realize it. You think because you being busy and you being productive and you going after your dollar, you going after the bag, that you doing something. But like you said, you could be going after something that is going to be a curse to you later. You just don't see it as that, but it very highly can be that, because like you said, when it comes to the true blessings, the things that really can provide life and positive things into your life, that comes with you being able to have more time with the Lord. That comes with being able to have more time with the things that you say you truly value. But if you value money, you're going to make the time for that. But if you value real relationship with the Lord, you're going to make the decisions and do the things necessary for that relationship to grow. And like you said, he don't want no gold diggers. He don't want people that's just in it for the fishes and the loaves. He wants the people that really want the word, that really want to know what he's saying, because what he's saying is going to bring spirit and it's going to bring life. Like, so that's what his word is. So what you're bringing up, Hawk, is so key. You don't want to be rich within yourself. You want to be rich in him, but you have to pay for those riches with your life. You got to pay for it with your time. You got to pay for it with your energy and your mind, so that you can grow. And that's what any good relationship is going to take effort, and the Lord always rewards effort. So that was good, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You can't serve him just to be a beneficiary.
Nah,
that ain't what it's all about.
No, sir.
Man, this episode, I don't know what to call this episode. This was good.
Yes, sir. I told you,
it's good to be able to blend your spirit like that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And this is the type of conversations I love to have.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that I know our industry needs a lot. You know, and with me being in it, deep in it, you know, I'm able to see a lot. I'm able to hear a lot. You know, and it's one of those things where I just know that, you know, we definitely got to get our spirits full, man. Yeah, we got to get on the right path for sure.
Yeah, you got to feed.
So much negativity in the industry, especially lately, man. I've been seeing stuff on social media with barber beef. I'm like, bro, like that's a part of the industry I want no part of, bro. Like,
it bears no fruit. It bears no fruit,
none at all.
No good fruit anyway.
Yeah. Nah, that's why I'm glad I could sit in a room with people such as Brad, people like yourself, like positive, like-minded people, you know, positive, influential people. You know, we we all are seeking his purpose, and just that's the type of people I want to be around, man. All that other mumbo jumbo, I'm cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like this life is so much bigger than just barbering, bro. Like barbering is just what I do to provide for my family. Like, but it's not my life.
Yeah.
And I know you felt like that, just dating back to when your page got hacked and, using the middle of your transition to, emphasizing, Christ more. I went through a phase like that, bro. Like, believe it or not, man, I've been in the church since I was 10 years old, but like I wasn't in the church. I was just in there physically.
The church wasn't in you.
It wasn't in me. But
that's a fact.
It came to a point when I turned 30. I was like, man, you know what? I got to be more intentional. I got to be, more serious. And it's not just to receive benefits, but to really, be serious about this in my life too.
Yeah. It's amazing because at a certain point, you mature. It's crazy because it's really about maturity and you being able to see it, right? It's so many things that when I was young, I did not appreciate that my parents was doing, like that my mom was doing for me. Like I didn't know to appreciate it. It was what it was. I had food in the fridge. I had a bed to sleep in. I had I could cry as much as I wanted to, and then she'd give me what I wanted. Like finally get a TV in my room. All this stuff that I wanted, and she gave me everything that I needed, everything that I wanted. But I was a horrible kid, like horrible, always arguing, always disrespectful, always like trying to do my own thing, being real sneaky, like very, very emotionally disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until I graduated high school, been through some things that I actually started to be able to know what it felt like to try and give love to somebody and then not be received in different things. And then it's like, wait, what? And then you transition, and I turned around and all that stuff in my life, it made me look back at my mom. And I was just like, you put up with so much. You put up with so much. And I say that because that revelation of my behavior and impact on how she may have felt on her long days after work and my behavior, all that stuff, it made me then look at my relationship with the Lord and was like, man, like you've put up with so much, like with just everything that I'm doing. And, people feel like, oh man, God knows my heart. And he like, yeah, he know your actions too. And it's like, if you don't get to the space where, and this is maturity, where you want to be thankful for what he's done for you in your life, because you start to notice it after time. If you really, if you love the Lord and you have a relationship with him at any level, you start to look back at your life and you can tell he's covered you. You can tell he hid you from something. He protected you from something else. Even when you went through this and you fell and it hurt, he was there for you, all of this stuff. And then you start to be able to turn back and you like, you know what? It's not about the blessings. Like you've done so many blessings. I can't even say anything about that. It's about me trying to give you my life because I'm thankful. I'm thankful for it and I appreciate it. And I want you to know it. And so my actions is my life is going to show it. It's like the faith that I have is not going to be seen without works. So I'm going to put works to how I'm going to show that I believe in you, how I love you, how I appreciate you. I'm going to put works to it. I'm going to put feet and actions to it so that when other people see my life and they do acknowledge it, it's like they don't know it, but they acknowledging God. And like you said, at certain points in times, if I feel it, I'm going to have to share it so that way that they can experience what I'm experiencing too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mic drop? No, that ain't no mic drop.
Mic drop right there.
Mic drop, man.
Nah, man, this has been a very, very valuable episode. I think it's so much.
It's gonna be one of my favorites.
Man, you prophesied it, man. Yeah, Josh, you're such a genuine person, man. Authentic to you're just very authentic. And I remember feeling that when we went to Las Vegas and you introduced faith in the art of barbering. And I remember, I don't know how you feel. No, I'm not gonna ask that question. There's something else, but I remember the way that you presented the information, and it was so much substance behind it that I was just like, man, if I get a chance to, I want to connect with him. And then so we got a chance to connect, but it was so many people in line waiting to talk to you and all this stuff, so I couldn't even really go there. I was trying to get him on the podcast back then, Delmar, but I didn't ask the question. I think I asked you if you were open to podcast, but that was it. But it was just such a wholesome. There's some people in this industry, man, that you can learn to respect and you can learn to get guidance from because of their depth. It's not about the glitz and the glamour of the, just the lights. It's about who that person is. And you're somebody, Josh, that I give a high respect towards, man. High respect because you've lived your life somewhat in the public eye where people can kind of see your growth. They can see the changes. They can see how you've elevated and how through your elevation, you didn't get big headed. And even if you did start to get big headed, you knew how to allow the Lord to deflate that head and you start to kind of walk in his path for your life. And it's going to bring you before good men. So that's just kudos to you. That was just a whole bunch of flowers. I just felt like throwing tulips. I appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. To God be the glory, man. But he's definitely used me, man. He's definitely used me. And I always just tell people, man, and you said it earlier, your testimony is the best thing that you could share, so even when we think sometimes like, all the things that we went through, some things you want to change is really perfect because granted, you got somebody that's watching, you got somebody that's looking up to you, you got somebody that's been inspired by what it is that you're doing. And for me to be able to share my story or for you to be able to watch that growth, it hits hard, man. It really hits hard. So like I said, I'm thankful for every good moment, every bad moment, every okay moment, because like I said, it serves a purpose. It serves a purpose and he'll turn it around for his good. So man. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
All right, man. Well, we don't want to hold you.
Wait.
He said, I got some more, man. I got it.
That's right.
No. I don't have another question because this has been a very great episode and I don't want to water anything else down. But I got one request if you can, Josh. We need your help trying to get Vic on the show, man.
Okay, trying to get Vic. That might be a tough one right there. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. The brother stays busy.
He be traveling.
Yeah, he be traveling, man. I know, like I said, price tag different. Like I said, granted, I know he be, tied into a lot of different things. But I'll definitely, do my due diligence, throw it out his way and, plant the seed. But I know the young brother definitely be busy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Nah, this has been a great episode, man. We really appreciate you taking time out your day. I know you're a busy individual as well, but I'm just happy that we was finally able to get you on the Elevated Barbers Podcast. And this has been an episode of such substance. Like, definitely my favorite episode.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. Like I said, I love the concept of what y'all doing. I love the name, Elevating, with the barbers, and what y'all doing by even having individuals like myself or anybody that y'all may bring on, it's going to elevate barbers who's watching this. And that's what it's all about, man. Not keeping nobody in the same position or just keeping anybody just 10. It's just how can we keep elevating? How can we keep going to that next level? So I salute both of y'all for what y'all doing. Thank you for staying consistent. Thank you for just, pushing forward because some days I know it may seem hard. I know y'all schedules may get busy. Sometimes y'all might look at it like, how many views and what's the engagements looking like. I know we just first started, all that different things, but the fact that y'all stand with it, I salute y'all for that because that's a problem for a lot of people. They started and they might not see the results that they're looking for, but just how we said, every day is a chase to 1%. Just give it a little something each and every day, and eventually y'all will see the 100. But just keep pressing, man. Proud of both of y'all, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that means a lot, man. That means a lot. So we are not gonna hold you all any longer, man. Today, I mean, if you watch this episode, you elevated. You are. So please like and subscribe, turn your notifications on, leave some comments on this episode if you really, really enjoyed it. Say some stuff to Hawk, to myself, to the Prince, Delmar. Say something in the comments because this is a conversation that definitely needs to continue to happen. Like we don't want to just keep this on the podcast and not let it enter into your life. So bring what you got and take it somewhere, man. Take something to somebody else because we all trying to elevate. So we here on Elevated Barbers Podcast trying to help elevate barbers by elevating barbers such as yourself, Hawk. And I think that we did that today. I think today everybody's gonna feel elevated. I know I do. I feel great.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah, man. So all right, till the next episode. We appreciate y'all for watching and we will see y'all soon. Peace.
1, 2